Welcome back to Horror Funk Town, where we explore the world's darkest disasters with a side of sarcasm and some seriously dark humor. Today, we're looking at the Stresa-Mottarone cable car disaster, an event that began with stunning views and ended in a horror story. If you enjoy this kind of macabre storytelling, make sure to hit that subscribe button and don't forget to troll me in the comments below. Now, let's climb to the top and then plunge straight into disaster. On May 23, 2021, the Stresa-Mottarone cable car, located in Italy's scenic Piedmont region, promised a relaxing 20-minute ride filled with panoramic views of the Alps, Lake Maggiore, and 7 sparkling lakes at the summit of Mount Matterone. Tourists, couples, and families, many of whom were just happy to be outside again after months of lockdown, were looking forward to a peaceful day. But in true horror funk town fashion, this story was about to take a tragic turn, proving that even a sunny day in Italy can turn darker than a horror movie set at midnight. At around 12:30 p.m., just as the cable car was approaching its final stop, barely 100 meters from the station, the main suspension cable suddenly snapped. Passengers had little time to react. For a split second, there was stunned silence, followed by a collective gasp as reality sank in. The cable car, now untethered, was dangling 20 meters above the ground. Unfortunately, things were about to get much worse. The emergency brakes, which were supposed to stop the cabin in case of cable failure, were as useful as a chocolate teapot. Maintenance workers had reportedly disabled them to prevent frequent malfunctions that caused service interruptions. It's the kind of genius fix you'd expect from a bad sitcom, not a public transport system. As the cabin started to slide backward uncontrollably, passengers must have experienced sheer terror, knowing the brakes meant to save them had been turned off for convenience. The cable car picked up speed, careening backward down the steep line like a roller coaster from hell. It reached over 100 kilometers per h, its passengers helplessly tossed around inside the cabin. Then it happened. The Runaway cable car smashed into a support pylon, the force of impact severing it from the track entirely. The car then plummeted into the mountainside, tumbling down like a nightmare unfolding in slow motion. If you thought Final Destination was just a movie, this incident might change your mind. The wreckage was horrific. Mangled metal, shattered glass, and personal belongings strewn across the pine forest. 14 of the 15 passengers were killed instantly, including an entire Israeli family, an engaged Italian couple, and several tourists. Among the victims was a 2-year-old boy, his life tragically cut short during what should have been an ordinary family outing. The only survivor, a 5-year-old boy named Eitan Biran, was found still strapped to his seat in the debris, crying for his lost family. Eitan's miraculous survival, however, came at an unimaginable price. His parents, brother, and grandparents were all killed in the crash. The aftermath of the disaster wasn't just filled with sorrow, it was also filled with outrage and disbelief. Investigators discovered that the cable car's operators had intentionally deactivated the emergency brakes because they were fed up with frequent stops caused by malfunctions. In other words, they thought, what could possibly go wrong? Well, everything. Maintenance workers had used a metal clamp to jam the brakes open, believing that the main cable would never fail. The entire system was a ticking time bomb, a tragic reminder that shortcuts and safety do not mix. The arrests came swiftly. 3 men, including the owner of the cable car company, its director, and a service manager, were charged with involuntary manslaughter and negligence. The public was left stunned by the sheer recklessness of their decisions, especially considering the cable car had undergone major renovations just 5 years prior. But it wasn't the first time Italy's infrastructure was found lacking. From bridges that crumble like stale breadsticks to trains that derail faster than a bad date, Italy's history of infrastructure failures loomed large over this tragedy. As for the survivors, the disaster sparked calls for urgent reforms in cable car operations, including stricter safety inspections, more robust emergency protocols, and, here's a novel idea, actually keeping the brakes working. However, for the families of the victims, no amount of legal action or reforms could undo the heartache of that catastrophic Sunday in May. So, the next time you're on a cable car, maybe give the brakes a good long look, or better yet, stick to a nice hike. After all, the only things that should be falling off cliffs in the Alps are avalanches, not tourists. Thank you for watching Horror Funk Town. If you enjoyed this dive into one of Italy's deadliest cable car disasters, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments. Would you have stepped onto that cable car? Stay creepy, and I'll see you in the next one.